Hello everyone, welcome to Come Sit at My Table. Melissa and I are really happy to have you here with us for our video today. It's Sunday, so we're doing a Sunday subscriber series recipe. And today's recipe comes to us from Janice Redding in Edmond, Oklahoma. Now this recipe from Janice is for caramel apple buttermilk muffins.
That just sounds delicious.
Wow. That's the perfect muffin for this time of year. I'd like to read to you just a little bit of the letter that Janice sent to us. It says, "Dear Tom and Melissa, I live in the great state of Oklahoma. My husband and I have been married for 50 years and we are both retired. I watch you daily, even if that means watching your videos 2 and 3 times each. Next thing I know, I'm in the kitchen cooking one of your recipes. My husband's famous words are," our oven's preheated to 400 degrees. "My husband's famous words are, 'What are you cooking now?' I absolutely love baking, and especially baking muffins. I have several different recipes that I'm always making. Friends and family can always come to my house knowing that I have some type of muffin either sitting on the counter or in the freezer. I always start laughing when you tell us to make the recipe as it is for the first time, because I don't. This recipe that I'm sending your way has been altered. The first time I made the caramel apple buttermilk muffins, I just had to alter it with several different ingredients, and boy, was that a smart move. They are fabulous. This is my #1 muffin that everyone loves. I love watching the videos, and what a blessing you have having your own film producer, Melissa." And I agree 100%, Janice. I am a blessed man. "You two get along very well, and she always has your back. Keep making the videos, and God bless you both. Janice Redding." Janice, we do appreciate that very kind letter, and we really appreciate getting this caramel apple buttermilk muffin recipe. Now, I want to say something to the rest of you. There are a lot of ingredients out here on the counter, but it's nothing that's unusual. Everything that's out here is probably something you have already in your kitchen or pantry. So don't get scared by the amount of ingredients in this recipe. I promise you this is going to be really easy to do. There are just 3 parts to this. First, we're going to make the streusel topping, and that's just the crumbly stuff that we put on top of the muffins before they bake. Then we're going to make the muffin batter that we're going to put in our muffin cups. And then after the muffins are baked, we're going to make a caramel sauce to drizzle over those muffins. Lord have mercy. These are going to be so good, I can already tell. Okay, let's talk about what we're going to use. And we're going to start by talking about what we're going to use for our streusel topping, and then what we're going to use to make our muffins. We will save the ingredients for our caramel drizzle until we get ready to make it. So those ingredients aren't out yet. Okay, here we go. This is what we're going to use. We're going to start with 2 tablespoons of butter. Now, the recipe says to use cold butter, and this is cold, but it's not like it's frozen butter. It's just right out of the refrigerator. We're going to use 2/3 cup of firmly packed brown sugar. We're going to use 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1 cup of finely chopped pecans. Now, you want these to be fine because this is going to be on top of your muffins, and you want it to mix well with your other ingredients. So I used my little nut grinder and just ground them up, and we'll put those 4 ingredients together in our bowl and mix them. Now, for our muffins, our wet ingredients are 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. You can use whatever oil you prefer. Just make sure it's a flavorless oil. 1 1/3 cups of packed brown sugar. 1 whole egg. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract or vanilla flavoring. And we're going to use 1/2 teaspoon of orange extract. Now that's a little bit unusual, but man, I bet it's going to give these muffins a great flavor. And, oh, this is the wonderful part. We're going to use 1 cup of whole buttermilk. My goodness, that's going to give it some great flavor and good moisture. So we will mix those wet ingredients together before we add them to our dry ingredients, which are 2 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I've put these out on a plate for us to see, but I've also lined them up back here. So 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're going to use 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, 2 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. We will mix those together, combine those, and then put our liquid and dry ingredients together in a bowl and make our muffin batter. Once those are combined and we have our batter made, we're going to stir in 1 21-ounce can of apple pie filling or topping. Now, Janice's recipe says to use Lucky Leaf apple pie filling. I could not find Lucky Leaf here, and we used to have it all the time. I've used it many times, but I just couldn't find it the other day when I went shopping. So I got Comstock, and honestly, I really do like Comstock, especially the ones that say it has 10% more fruit. So whatever you can find, but hers does say to use Lucky Leaf. Then we're going to use 1/2 cup of chopped pecans and 1/2 cup raisins. I'm using golden raisins,
because that's what we like.
You know that I love golden raisins if you've been around here a while. I like the dark raisins too, but those are my favorites, so that's what I'm using. All right, now these do not include our caramel topping ingredients. We will do that after we get our muffins baked. Okay, one other important thing that we need to talk about with this recipe. You're going to set your oven at 400 degrees. And we've already preheated our oven. You heard it beep. But when you put the muffins in the oven, as soon as you close that door, you're going to lower the temperature to 350. So they're going to start at 400, but as they bake, the temperature in the oven is going to drop a little till it gets to 350. So we have to remember to do that. Melissa?
That's my job.
It's your job to remind me to lower that temperature.
We could be in trouble.
All right. Let's get some of these things put away that we're not going to need, like the oil and the buttermilk, because I've already got those measured, and the spices. And then we'll get started putting our streusel topping together. All right, to make our streusel topping, we're going to add our finely chopped pecans, our brown sugar, our teaspoon of cinnamon, and our 2 tablespoons of butter. Now, I'm going to read to you what Janice's recipe says, because I want you to know I'm following her directions. It says, in a bowl, combine all the streusel topping ingredients. Using your fingers, combine until you have a crumbly mixture. Set aside. I have washed my hands. Make sure you do that. You don't want to use dirty hands to mix this together. And I always just take my brown sugar and kind of put it on top of my butter, just so it's kind of coated. And then you're just going to use your fingers and mix this all together. When you get finished, it should be crumbly, and that butter should be mixed in, and you shouldn't see any of it. All right, let's do our wet ingredients. I'm going to start with the egg so that I can just kind of mix it up and get it beaten in first. So I'm going to put it in before I add my other ingredients. Now, the recipe says to make sure the egg, oil, and brown sugar are mixed together first before we add the buttermilk and the flavoring. So I'm just going to add that oil to my egg. and add in the brown sugar. And I have packed it in, so I have to break that up. We want to make sure that is well combined before we add the buttermilk and the flavorings. All right, that looks good. Let's add in our buttermilk next. And Melissa, you probably know what I'm going to have to do here.
I do.
I have to get my little Barbie spatula, as somebody called it on one of the comments.
I know, that's forever renamed it for us.
Yeah, it has. I think they meant it as an insult to the spatulas, but we loved that. We thought that was kind of funny. So now we call them the Barbie spatulas.
They are cute and kind of.
Well, I'll tell you,
really
these
Barbie,
were
but...
a gift from one of our wonderful subscribers, and I absolutely love using them because they are so handy. So, I don't care what somebody calls them. I call them handy and useful. All right, so I'm stirring in that buttermilk. And because that brown sugar mixture was so thick, it might take just a minute to incorporate that buttermilk, but just take your time and do that. All right, look at that.
You're using a whisk, but a spoon would probably work too.
It would. You can use whatever, but a whisk works really well. Okay, now we're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So there's 1 and 2. And then we're adding just 1/2 teaspoon of the orange. And of course, I forgot to take the little, it's a brand new bottle, and I forgot to take the covering off. So I only need half of this because this is a 1/2 teaspoon and I only need 1/4. All right, so in it goes. And now we'll mix that in. Wow, that smells good.
It does, I like that.
Yeah. Now we're going to set this aside. I can really smell that orange.
That's gonna be great flavoring.
We're going to set that aside while we stir together our dry ingredients, and then we'll combine them both. So I'm just going to push that back a little bit, Melissa, that way you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put my flour in. And our ginger, salt, baking soda, and baking powder. And we want to just stir those together just for a second, just to get that combined before we add the liquid ingredients. Okay, that should do it. Now, we're going to add the liquid to the dry. And you know I'm going to have to scrape this.
I'm gonna have to look for an orange candle or...
Because you like that smell, don't you?
I like that orange smell. That's so nice. Perfect for the holidays coming up.
It smells really good. Okay. So we have our wet in with the dry. Now let's stir those together. The batter is fairly stiff, exactly like Janice's recipe says it will be.
And it's such a pretty color.
It really is. Let me just show you.
It looks like the caramel on apples, doesn't it?
It does. You can see there how stiff it is. It's not a runny batter, which is good. It's not thick like, you know, it's kind of an in-between. It's stiff, but it's not so stiff that you can't scoop it. We're going to stir in our can of apple pie filling, but before we do, we need to chop up those apples. All I do is take a sharp knife and go down and just cut through the can. And I do that over and over and over. Now, I've already done it because I didn't want to do the whole thing on camera, but I wanted you to see how I do that. If you don't want to do it in the can like that, you can certainly pour it out into a bowl and chop them up. But all you have to do is just chop them up a little bit. If you do it in the can like I did, and you start putting them in your batter, and you see that there are some big pieces, like that one right there. You can see I missed that piece right there. All you have to do is take your knife and just chop it up. So don't worry about that. If you miss a piece or two, it's okay. Just chop them up. They'll be okay. And I just look at them as I pull them out of here, just to make sure that they're not in big slices. Okay, that's pretty good. I only missed one that time. That's not too bad. All right, we want to make sure all of that's in there. And now we're going to add our raisins and our nuts. So in they go. Nuts and raisins. Get in there, boys. And then we're just going to fold those in. And this is a beautiful, beautiful muffin batter. I agree with Melissa. The color of this is just perfect for fall. It does look like the caramel on apples. It's actually the color of our butter pecan fudge.
It is.
That
it does
we
look
make.
a lot like that.
Mm-hmm. It's that same color. Man, that's so pretty. Okay. Now, Janice's recipe says that this will make 24 regular muffins. But Melissa and I really like the jumbo muffins. So I'm doing 12 jumbo muffins rather than the 24 regular muffins. That probably means they're going to have to bake just a little longer than the regular muffins. If you're doing the regular size, the recipe says they should bake for 20 to 22 minutes. I'm going to guess this is going to take just a hair longer. But let me get these scooped into our muffin cups, and we'll get them in the oven. Oh, that's right. Don't forget, Melissa just pointed. We have to put on that streusel topping.
I was trying to help you out there without giving it away that you'd forgotten it.
Well, nobody who watches this channel is going to be surprised that I forgot. But you're right. Once we get these scooped in, we'll come back and do the streusel topping. All right, we're putting on our streusel topping. I'm just putting on like a heaping teaspoon of it. And then I'm just going to kind of spread it over the top because you want to make sure that every bite of your muffin has some of that streusel topping. What did you say about the streusel topping, Melissa?
It's my favorite part. I like that crunchiness of it.
I started spreading them in the first pan and she said, oh, put plenty. It's my favorite part. That's what makes it so good. All right. So we have our streusel topping on. Now we're going into our 400-degree oven, but we're going to immediately reduce the heat to 350 degrees. We don't want to forget to do that. All right. Let's go in and then we will turn down that heat. $350. Our muffins are out of the oven.
Boy, they look good, don't they?
They look wonderful and they smell so good. And we have allowed them to cool for just a few minutes. Now we're going to make our caramel drizzle to put over them. To make that, we're going to use 2 tablespoons of butter, 1/4 cup of packed light brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of milk. We're using 1 teaspoon of vanilla and 1 cup of powdered sugar. And the nice thing about this is it's going to be made in the microwave. so we don't have to heat up the stove. So we're putting our butter, our brown sugar, and our milk into a microwave safe bowl. We're going to microwave this. Sorry, baby, didn't mean to butt you.
Oh, you're okay.
We're going to microwave this for 30 seconds. We'll take it out and stir it and put it back in for another 15. Then we will add our vanilla and our powdered sugar. So let's microwave it. Now that we have stirred it together, we're going back into the microwave for 15 seconds more. All right, we're going to stir again. And now we're going to add our vanilla and our powdered sugar. Woo. And we're going to stir that in. Janice's recipe does say that if it gets a little too thick, that you could add a bit more milk, or if you feel like it's too runny, to add a bit more powdered sugar. You want it to be thick enough that you can drizzle it. You don't want it too thick because you want to be able to kind of drizzle it over the top, but if it's too thin, it'll just run off. So you'll just have to adjust it to what you think you need. I want to get those lumps of powdered sugar broken up. I don't want those on top of my muffins. So I'm going to press those against the side of my bowl here, just to make sure that's all stirred up. All right, I have decided that I am going to add a little extra powdered sugar just because I don't want it to run off my muffins. And I will do that just a spoonful at a time until it's as thick as I want it to be. That's getting closer, but I still don't think that's quite where I want it. I'll try one more spoonful. See what that does. Oh, I think that's getting better, don't you?
Right. I think it would have just
Yeah, I'm afraid it would have just run off.
been on your plate instead of on your muffins.
Right. I know this is crazy, but I'm going to add one more spoon. I just want to make sure that it wasn't full. I just want to make sure it does not run off those muffins. I want it to stay on top. Oh, there we go. That's what I want right there. So I put an extra 3 spoonfuls in mine, just like a soup spoon. But you do whatever you want. Okay, now, we'll get that out of the way, and we're just going to drizzle. And I probably won't do all of these at once, but we'll do a few of them. Oh man, doesn't that look delicious?
Yeah, and it's not running. That's good.
Yeah, that's the right consistency right there.
Wow, these look so good. You did a great job.
Thank you, baby. I cannot wait to dig into one of these.
Oh, my. I wish we had a little more time this morning, but tomorrow morning, I can see me on the back porch or the front porch maybe with some hot tea.
You know,
If you're a coffee drinker, it'd be great with a cup of coffee.
I was going to say, Melissa and I are not coffee drinkers. She will probably have one of these tomorrow morning with a cup of tea. I'll have it with a glass of milk. But this morning, we've got to finish this because we have to get to church. I've got to go get dressed and get ready to go. Oh, man. These look so good. Look at the inside of these. Just look at that muffin. Can you see it, baby?
Oh, that's so nice.
All right, you get the first bite.
Okay.
I know, I gave you a huge bite, didn't I? Sorry about that.
Oh my goodness. Wow. To quote you.
I rarely get a wow out of Melissa. If I got a wow, it's a wow.
Honestly, this would be really good even without the drizzle on top.
Oh
That
my
just
heavens.
that makes it go from a nice muffin to a wow muffin.
Oh my goodness.
That is so, so good. Janice, I can see why people are lining up at your door for these.
It's not often that I'm speechless. I can't get over this. The apple is fabulous in this. And I'm just going to tell you, apple is not my favorite fruit. I like apples. I never just sit down and eat an apple. These are marvelous.
It really adds a lot of moisture to the muffin.
You can taste that apple, but man, the caramel. And you're right, you wouldn't have to put the caramel on it.
But it really
But
does.
why wouldn't you?
It really does elevate the whole
Wow.
level of these.
Okay. We have to finish this because we have to get to church. And I have to finish that muffin. Thank you so much for coming to sit at the table with us today. We do appreciate it. We hope you'll try this recipe because I'm telling you, that's fabulous. I can see why it's her #1 muffin. Right below this video, there's a thumbs up button. That's the like button. We really would appreciate you clicking that. If you haven't before, we invite you to go right below the video and click that subscribe button. There's a little notification bell beside of it. If you'll click it in the word all, YouTube will notify you every time we add a new video. We invite you to do that. We like to say that gives you a seat at our table. Right under the video, there's a description box. It's going to say caramel apple buttermilk muffins. If you'll click in that box, it will expand. Melissa will put the written recipe right there for you. Under that recipe, you will find you'll find our mailing address. It's our contact information, P.O. Box. If you want to send recipes to us for us to consider using on our Sunday subscriber series, we would love to have those. All we ask is that it's a recipe or recipes that your family has enjoyed for years. We want tried and true recipes. Right under our contact information is a link to our cookbook. If you want to click that link, you can, or you can go on and type in www.reformationpublishers.com. Scroll to the bottom of their page and you'll find our cookbook there. We invite you to order our cookbook. We would love for you to do that. And of course, at the bottom of the page, there's a place for you to leave a comment. We love hearing from you. So feel free to go down there and leave us a comment. We do appreciate you being here. We want you to remember 2 things. First, God loves you, and so do we. And second, you are always welcome to come sit at my table. Have a great day.